Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. It's Shirley with Spirit of Matter. And first of all, I want to thank 406 subscribers. This is a jump, which is very much predicted because I began to move the soil for this Virgo half moon. I did what I said, I walked my talk, and I moved the soil, and I built my half moons, and a lot of good things happening in my life. So Virgo month is a great time to do that. And I'm very, very grateful for each and every one of you. And you can jump and say hi, okay? So say hi in the comments. And this episode is actually about a prediction that I made that was wrong. So I made an episode about predictions I did that were borne out. So I predicted stuff to happen with Kim Jong-un, for Mark Rutte. Mark Rutte was like one-on-one. It's falling into place. Really exciting to see what will happen with that. And yes, and now this episode is more about a prediction that I did that was not borne out. So previously, when I looked at the natal charts of the centuries or the transits of the centuries, I talked about the Pluto square of Kim Jong-un. I talked about the second Saturn return of Mark Rutte, which is for the Pantheon, the eclipses that Geert Wilders is still having to kind of keep looking, and even Kamala Harris, which is an unexpected eclipse child. She's not born within eclipses, but her ascendant is right on Rahu. So she's very much an eclipse child by the merit of having her ascendant so close to Rahu and Ketu. And I even addressed Elon Musk for pretty much the rest of Aries in Mars sign. So fascinating figure. Aries is playing out big for him. Aries in Aries, and we'll see a lot. Okay, we'll see a lot. Now, I made prediction that because the first strike of, let's say, Uranus midheaven is the most significant strike, okay, the most significant one, I made prediction that we will probably not see another assassination attempt with Donald Trump, but actually just talking about the assassination attempt and so on. So that prediction was wrong. Yesterday that there was another assassination attempt in Trump, and that was yes, not expected. My prediction was that we will be talking about the previous assassination attempt again, and then kind of discover more information when Uranus goes direct. So this was not borne out, and he was indeed going through another assassination attempt. Now, this is going to be very fascinating, both astrologically and in terms of secret societies and Black Sun rituals, because we don't know, because Donald Trump is eclipse child. When you are born with the proximity to the eclipses or to the nodes, there is the role of fate, the role of karma, or the role of fate, not even karma, just the role of fate plays a gigantic role in your chart. It doesn't mean that you have no access to choice, but definitely certain people have, let's say, the windows open for navigation of their lives a bit more so than eclipse children. Okay, it is okay to say that. If you are eclipse child, you probably had premonitions, you know that about yourself, and we have an eclipse family that did astrological magic, that brought astrological magic into a form of that anybody can use, like a blend, an oil or butter or something like that, and it's the Cobox. And the child is also an eclipse child, which is interesting. For Donald Trump, because it's eclipse child, it means that it's not so possible to direct his fate, okay? People who are pre-eclipse children, eclipse children, it's not so possible to direct our fate. That means even us, okay? What will you be doing? I remember I was in Model UN, I'm pre-eclipse child, I had Model UN, a very hot man was beginning a conversation with me, and he was asking me what will I be doing in 5 years and so on, where do I see myself, and I had anemia. So I was so exhausted that I was not even able to not only not think, but I was not even able to answer. And I guess he took it that I need some time off and maybe I'm not so interested in him, and he just went and another girl flirted with him, and that's it. Okay, so when I say not even us being able to direct our own life path, I mean it. So this is funny, but what's happening with eclipse children is that you really don't know if the assassination attempt is a part of like that fate, or it's a part of the secret societies, MK Ultra and all the intelligences trying to make a ritual, because they also use astrology, so make a ritual to assassinate Trump. Or do they really want him assassinated, do they not? And that's something maybe only Trump can tell, because he has premonitions, so he would probably be able to tell. But this is something very, very fascinating. It's not impossible that with the Uranus on the midheaven of Trump, they are using the power of three. And the power of three, you've probably seen that, especially around 7th October and all these things. You know that Trump himself, he uses the power of three in his communication. He won the election with that. It's kind of like hypnotic command and the power of repetition. And it's something that we use, okay? It's something that you can use for good, you can use it not so good. And yes, the Israeli intelligence, yes, they said they use power of three. I can attest, because when they try to use that on me, then and I knew exactly who, because I was one from academia and one my psychologist. So yes, they would use a 1, 2, 3, a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I was like, okay, so I didn't think of it much, because I accept for the occult, so I just observed it to see what is going on, and that's how they make like reality creation. But they don't do it in favor. And when you do it in favor, they may try to infiltrate this, then you have to protect your creation or reflect it back. And so what I suspect is that there is use of the power of three, because when a planet goes retrograde, so it goes direct, retrograde, and direct, it strikes the whatever point, in this case Trump's midheaven, 3 times. So they may try to use the power of three, which is like 1, 2, and try to completely unalive him in the 3rd time. I'm not too worried about this, because, and I don't think Trump is, because unless he knows something, okay? Because the role of fate here is just a bit more than the secret society. It's just a fascinating case study where even the native doesn't even understand what they're doing. And the funny thing is that you can have a sense of control over that native for a little while, then the planet goes retrograde, they take the power back, and so on. So this is just very fascinating, and the way that secret societies breed basically our leaders and so on. And then you have eclipse children growing. So they would use the black sun rituals. If I told you what I have been through with the solar eclipse in Aries, you would laugh so hard, you know. It was like what they tried the sex magic, and they tried this, and they tried that, and they tried that, and I'm like, okay, fine, okay, what? You try to control something I don't myself. I'm standing in front of the stars, and that's it, okay? And to expose me to the eclipse and so on, to the whatnot. Very, very crazy things. And you don't even know the motives of what do they want to achieve with that. But this is so funny. And so those eclipse rites, or black sun rites or whatnot, I guess there is attempt to control for what we cannot control, which is the eclipses, or the most fated events. Why Algol is considered, Beta Persei considered the evil star, because it eclipses every 3 days. It eclipses, okay, and they can't control for this, and it happens every 3 days. So the element of fate in eclipse is just more significant, and you live with that. I guess secret societies are having a problem with the elections in US because we have Donald Trump, which is eclipse child, and Kamala Harris, which has ascendant on Rahu. So she's very ecliptic, right? And you have a weird astrologer that's outside of the cult, and they've tried the black sunrise, they've tried this, they've tried that, and that person even said to themselves, okay, how come I was alive? I don't know. And this astrologer keeps reporting, and now having 406 subscribers. So thank you to my viewers. Because when I see such things, I have to correct my prediction, okay? Because my prediction was, if we saw one strike of attempt of assassination of Trump when Uranus was hitting Algol, I said, this is the worst. This is the worst. Okay, only time where it's not the worst is when, like my Pluto square, that's the first the first strike is the most significant, but then because the Pluto changes signs, then the for good change has a signature. So so 0 degree Scorpios on their Pluto square right now are having a dignified Pluto square, which means yes, we just have to release and allow the world to be and transform. But normally when you have a planet going direct, retrograde, direct, the first strike is going to be the most powerful, impactful. Then you're beginning to process it, you understand more, you grow smarter, and by the third time you're probably done with dealing with that. And you make your final response and so on. Now, because of that, I predicted that there would not be any more assassination attempt in Trump. It was just reminding of the term and then discovering more information. Now, seeing this, I say it's very likely that when clock strikes 12 and Uranus goes direct, other than the election day, which I said is problematic, there is very likely, because they use the power of 3, now we have 2, now they need the third one, it's very likely that they are either going to do it on day of election, they're going to try, for either him or Kamala Harris, or both. I mean, the both are people they can't control, so for as much as they want to replace both, okay? Yes, people with 28 midheaven Taurus, yes. No, Uranus has not struck the first strike. That's to you, Manirute. So I don't know to tell, okay? And also it is 2 degrees away from Algol, so I honestly don't know to predict what will be around that. Or what will be around like the lawsuit or something like that. I don't know. I'm watching like you're watching, okay? Less because I know less. So it's very likely, unfortunately, that as Algol strikes for the midheaven of Trump again, which is going to be around the spring, I believe. It's spring, summer 2025. This is when, because Uranus is just going retrograde, okay? It's just begun its retrograde. Yes, this is important. Now, either that, they were going to try the first time, or election day, or when the exact 26th degree, okay? Because Uranus is on the 26th, going to be on the 26th again. Now, because it is Beta Persei, yes, they have to pick where Beta Persei is not eclipsing. If they may be trying to do it when she's eclipsing, because they do black sunrise, which means eclipse rites. You're not supposed to do magic with eclipses. It's too much energy, but they do it anyway. And that's what their archaic practices look like on the world. Malefic, okay? And so with Beta Persei, it's not impossible that when Uranus is again 26 degrees Taurus, then they may try again to assassinate Trump. I don't predict them to try more than 3 times because they use the power of 3. Will that be successful? Now, because Uranus has not struck the final on the midheaven, I have to admit, I don't predict this to be successful. But I cannot explain to you for this or that. I know they will try 3 times. What I predict is that if Beta Persei is running a certain karma regarding to Donald Trump, then even if not successful, then something else can happen. But again, I have to admit, I don't see reason to predict that. Okay, what I see here is a bunch of secret society intelligence doing black sun rites, and I don't necessarily predict them to be successful. Now, supportive factors could have been a Neptunian influence on Trump's chart. He's Leo ascendant. That would mean, yes, that would mean Pisces is the 9th house. I don't think, yes, it's not something in particular that I see for Trump that Neptune, transiting Neptune, is assisting. I would need to look at Neptune more in his chart. As per Nicolas Stoyanovich, Neptune allows person to be invisible. Okay, people like me who have Neptune midheaven, we surrender our fate so much that it's almost funny, but we are slippery. We're slippery fishes. And this is true. It's also true for us, because of when sometimes we try to get a grip of ourselves, but it slips. This is also slippery, okay? And so if there is supportive Neptune aspect, can give a person that slips away. If there's a try, they will try, and so it slips away. Nasrallah has supportive Neptune aspects to his, yes, it's a B-sextile protecting Nasrallah. So when I did episode about Nasrallah, and I was in Ben Gurion Airport, because why not? Not flying. Rothschild doesn't fund my flight tickets, especially not when I talk about the Rabobank, but okay. I understand their fiscal risk management. Anyway, and so Neptune things could be protective, but still, I don't predict that necessarily to be successful. What I do predict is, because Trump is like Hyoka, okay? Trump, all of the people that you see, public people, if you see with the piece, with the 2, it's 2 genders. Watch Mama versus Mafia channel on YouTube. But because he's like the sacred clown, okay? And my prediction is that his assassination attempts are going to be exposing things that we don't usually talk about. And that is why I think this is happening publicly, okay? It's not about Trump per se, it is about exposing of the deeper intelligences that are running this, and because Trump is eclipse child, he's out of their control, okay? To tell you a small anecdote, I had my psychologist telling me, trying to reach, okay, with the mind control, it says, your problem is your out of control mind. I'm like, yes, my mind indeed is out of control of these cults. They try, it works a little bit, then it slips away, then it works a little bit, it slips away. Yes, but also me, I cannot like meditate for hours and so on. Sometimes, but not mostly not. So my out of control mind is basically the psychologist sees that as problem because I don't do M. Okay, I mean maybe there was astral flings that I'm not aware of, but other than that, that's the case. And for Trump, it's the same in the sense that he's not in their control. Doesn't mean that he's in his control, but there's just something around eclipses. Now, these cults do everything for black sun rites. They do the moon harvesting. They try to harvest the moon or to create traumas in the lives of people and whatnot and perpetuate traumas. But you know, when I see this, and you want to watch Mama versus Mafia for this moon stuff, and go to her vlog, because in her vlogs, use Google Translate. In her vlog, it's in Dutch, but she's writing in English as well. It's worth your time. And when I see how much energy invested in making people sadistic, in making people perpetuate harm, I have to say I've grown more fond of humanity, because we are really not that evil. It takes so much energy to turn, and not only that, to perpetuate evil so that they will continue to do evil. It takes so much energy. That is really, it's going to make you grow more fond of humanity, because it really takes a lot to make people evil. That being said, there are those who invest. So, so that is something, yes, to keep in mind, and to set intention to explore. Okay, what would be the essence of your desire? What would derive you joy had you not been traumatized? And can you have access for this? Can you explore this in a safe way for you? Might be the beginning of a setting intention for the right to exit the cults, okay? And very likely people from within are manifesting this. A lot of people within that already see what's happening and see that, you are not free, because a free man, free woman, free person needs not oppress another. And you may have come across this and come to realize this, or something similar to this, or you just want out, and see that it doesn't really work in your way and in your path. And I see a lot of people from within the cult, a lot of people from within this mind control, whether public figure, whether this, a lot of people from within, they're manifesting this so strongly that this bridging begins to happen, okay? With the shadow bands and with this and with that, there are also these forces operating. So yes, as per Trump, they will try again, because they used the power of 3 and they only tried 2 times. Will it be successful? I think not. He knows how to kick the power of 3 away. Okay? Again, when it's the time, it's the time. But when it's not the time, they're not going to make it the time. Okay? They invest a lot of energy, but I don't predict that to be successful. Unfortunately, I do predict to be another assassination attempt, either when Uranus is on 26, okay, right on his midheaven, or election day. If not, very likely when Uranus strikes again for this point in his direct motion. So that is, yes, the way I see it. It's not premonition. It's just pure astrology and a little bit of background information, context information about how these secret societies, yes, operate. Yes. Anybody has an input for this? Okay. This is what I have to say, because this one prediction that was not borne out. Why am I getting young Trump now? I remember young Trump predicted that he would be president of United States. I know that. Okay, it's Pluto return for United States. This is why Trump is president now. And we are on the final strike of Pluto. So that is why I'm getting young Trump. I don't know why am I getting young Trump. Is it because of Epstein? But he feels even younger than that. I don't know. So I have no idea. Yes, I don't know to tell Yasef what this energy is. One thing I can say about the elections. One thing I can say about the elections is both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump have the eclipse stamp, okay? So I cannot say this is equal power because it's not, but this is indeed, I haven't seen the chart of Hillary Clinton, but this is indeed closest to equal partnership or opponentship that we see, okay? Man to woman power. And I know that he has said, I'm not going to do another debate after he did debate with Kamala Harris. Keep getting young Trump. I don't know why. But this is like 2017, not 2017, 20 or 17. This is, okay, at age 18, around 17, this is where you have first Rahu return and could see things from there. I don't know what things that manifest. Maybe even about astrology. So I have planet Uranus opposing, not by degree, but by sign, 5 degree to Uranus of Donald Trump. So it's opposing, same Rahu sign. I don't know. And that very likely is, so that very likely we've got some premonitions or something. But this is very interesting because this is elections that are going to be important. It's around the last touch of Pluto. Okay, by November, Pluto is already gone. 19 November. Oh, 19 November, Pluto ingresses into Aquarius. So 5 November, still gonna be in Capricorn. This is the final touch. There are a lot of secret society forces that operate within. Again, if Trump wasn't Eclipse child, I would say set intention to expose. I would not be surprised if Trump will expose something about secret societies. You say, yes, it's true, he grew up within them, but I would not be surprised if he would expose that, and that's been sitting in since age 17. Around eclipses. Yes, that's yeah, that is the thing that is coming up right now. So Venus right now is 22 degrees Libra. We had Sun 22. I think Sun is still 22, Virgo. And Venus 22 Libra. So Venus will conjunct Spica in the coming days. But the assassination attempt for Trump happened when Sun was 22. Yes? When Sun was on the 22, or before that, I don't know. Okay, I don't want to say. I think it's more associated with the minimum of Algol. I haven't seen if that was when Algol was on the minima, because you need to see the hours when she's on the minima. And it's given fated events. So that's it. Okay, that's what I see. There will be another attempt. My prediction is not going to be successful. I could be wrong, but my prediction is not going to be successful. Definitely election date is with Venus 22, I think, in Sag. Powerful. You understand a lot of forces operate because this is the future of United States. And I think everybody knows that. I think Trump is having a moment, to say the least, because it's like he's a key figure in the bridging of 300-year cycles. So this is very powerful point for both Kamala Harris, and who came as immigrant and could be president, and for Donald Trump, who is Eclipse child, and it's just an interesting position to be in. Okay, it's just an interesting position to be in. It makes a lot of sense that we will have an immigrant president for United States for the final touch of Pluto. It makes a lot of sense as per the Pluto in Capricorn and the entire history of United States. It sets the stage for something that the Uranus in Gemini that will trine Pluto will complete. Why is Trump serving as the bridge? I believe that Trump is set to expose secret societies and their work in the United States in his own very satirical way, sacred clown way. It will no longer be something you are able to ignore by the time that it happens. And I have to admit, I don't think this needs to happen through assassination. Okay, he doesn't need to die for this to happen. I'll say even more. It would be a tremendously great time for him to speak, but he knows himself best and he sees this best, and he's in position to expose this. He's in position to the death camps, the everything. The relation to taxation, the enslavement of humanity, that all these things, that also as businessman he participated in, okay? I feel that he's in good position, yes, to talk about this. I don't know exactly where's this role leading, and why, but because he's Eclipse child and because they don't have control of his fate so much, he can speak what others cannot. Okay? Mark Rutte, I think, is not Eclipse child. Wilders not Eclipse child. Elon not Eclipse child. So we have Donald Trump, and Kamala Harris is only beginning of her career, okay, as the way she sees it. The United States is going to go through a lot. I do feel Trump is going to play a role in the civil war. And then the civil war will be about slavery, okay? I talked about the death and concentration camp, which Trump calls local produced, but it's also about being sovereign from China, which is not really being sovereign, because through secret societies we're not, but because he's eclipse child, it's like, oh, if it's under me, then we're sovereign. Yet with death and concentration camp, this is not sovereignty, right? So naturally my Uranus is opposition to his Uranus. So this is for the perspective I would have on this. And it is going to be a slavery-based civil war, classic, as it was, either labor rights or slavery-based, okay? So abolishing slavery, we're already dealing with that with Urano-Algol. And so I for that point, I kind of feel that we might have United States splitting into two, and that can be Kamala Harris and Trump, but I think that is something more going on here. Both Harris and Trump are not mitigatable, and it will and not easily assassinated, okay? Because their fate is fated, so it would be challenging to assassinate both Trump or Kamala Harris unless it's the fate for this to succeed, okay? Trump does have Sun 22, Gemini. Sun was squaring his Sun right now, but again, is fated. Now, because this can be around eclipses, but eclipse right now is not touching the Rahu Ketu. So 2030, around the eclipse season of 2030, for Trump, yes, this is sensitive time. But as per the natal chart, because it's 22 Sun Gemini, okay? And you have to have something that hits on the Rahu Ketu. And yes, is Rahu at the same sign of his Sun. So there would be fated unaliving, okay? But I remind you that Elon asked why wasn't Biden assassinated, or why was not attempt. There was attempt. His element is medical warfare, okay? There's no reason for him to be ill with all the advanced technology and medicine that we have. And it's just no reason scientifically for the science we're not exposed to. There's no reason. And so, and Elon knows it very well, because his chip company, which is why I told Elon, that your chip company is expected to assassinate as well. And so with chips in the brain, you can attune the brain to frequencies, and you can do wonderful stuff, but it's not why it's allowed for Elon to come up with this innovation. And this is the challenge of engineering and challenge of innovation that we face in this world, is ruled by these secret societies and this type of political culture. So 2030, I think more difficult. Yes, the eclipses of Pisces and Virgo, when the nodes are Pisces and Virgo, they will be squaring the nodes for Trump, but I don't necessarily predict anything there. Yes, this is fated. Yes, that can be around murder, and he's also ascendant Leo, so this Sun is ruling his ascendant. He knows this. He's permanently he knows this. Doesn't need me for that. But I don't predict this to be successful right now. Secret societies do try to take him out because they want a person that they want a puppet. But for Pluto, going 300 years And yes, all of the secret societies are going to be exposed. All of these occultistic practices that are not in alignment are going to be exposed. And all of the misuses of occult, okay, also going to be exposed. So those things are going to be the point of discussion for the Pluto Aquarius. And that's just the fact. And it's not so much that these people can do, but to rethink what did they do the past 300 years, okay, that created for what's going to be in Pluto Aquarius yet again. Is the only thing that makes sense, because the astrology they have, the knowledge they have, the history they have, the documentation, everything they have. So I do see Trump playing a big role in the American Civil War. Also Israeli Civil War. Okay, Israel's sun conjuncting the midheaven of Trump. Israel is a big part of the career, of the legacy of Donald Trump, and pushes him to, okay, but it's also creating a little bit of downfall, undoing. The taxation issues, I think, is related to that as well. Anything that could land him in prison or in hospital or in exile is basically when he practices his midheaven. So it's not the blame of Israel per se, it's more the beta per se, okay? Because Venus, the ruler of his midheaven, is in the 12th house in Cancer with Saturn taxation. So that's the thing. And that is probably why he, the more he rises the more he rises, because 10th house and the midheaven is kind of the legacy. The more he rises into his legacy, the more he is chased for taxations and papers and all of the above. That's pretty much the thing. And yes, right now with Beta per se, it's more like women rights and so and genders and da. When we're going to hit Gemini, it's going to be more about child labor, slavery. Mercury also, like Saturn, rules the skin. So also, skin color going to play a role. Yes, can be genders in the sense of like, gays and stuff, but I don't predict that to be a big feminine masculine debate. It's more about children. Right now we're still in the thrones of Venus, Mars, women, men, penis and vagina fighting instead of like doing other things. But that's that we're going to be through with that, and then we're gonna have eclipses on the Mercury Jupiter before we're gonna have the big eclipses on the Mercury Jupiter 2030, and the Civil War is going to take the axis. Okay, Uranus is going to take the axis, exit the axis, but we're gonna have another player, and that's gonna be Neptune, that's coming around to play with Saturn, and the Saturn don't play. In the axis of Mars-Venus, which is in Aries opposing Libra, so in the sign of Mars opposing Venus, and with Neptune, so it's going to be very weird. Okay, it's going to be the mythification of the warrior alongside the reality check around what being a warrior is, what is art of war. We already begin to discuss this right now with the world wars, and how war is related to taxation. Okay, the all thing. Okay, somebody's going to try to enslave humanity, then the person who tries to do that as presenter is kind of digging their own taxation grave, and then they have to do war. And so war breeds taxation, and so on and so forth. So that's what I have to say. I was surprised that they were going for the power of three of yet again trying to assassinate Trump. I don't think it will work for them, and it's not because I support this, I support that. It's just look at the chart and I say they are using the power of three. He's an eclipse child. Yeah, find another person, okay, who's not an eclipse. Like, yeah, this is not Tips for Assassins channel, but yes, and also not for Kamala. And she's young. She hasn't Trump seen that she's young still, so that is that's why they haven't tried yet. But they will around the elections, or they might today because Venus is 22 Libra. I don't know, but again, I don't think it's necessarily a hard time. And prediction for elections. My wild guess is that Kamala will be voted, because if I look at Pluto, what's it doing? Of course, it makes sense for an immigrant woman to be an immigrant woman who's not even white, totally white skin, to be president of United States. It must be before, even if United States goes kaput, to say, but this we must do, okay? So nothing to do with anyone's competence. I just predict that to be true. Still, Trump will play a part in the American Civil War, and you must be aware, because I don't know what will be the role of Harris in Civil War. Okay, we're expecting her to do one thing, but she's an eclipse child. Secret societies want her to do completely other thing. As far as they are concerned, they would rather have both of them offed. But you know, you're kind of like you're worshiping the Moloch. What did you expect? So, I mean, yeah. You have choice. You could do that and that and that and that and that with choice, but this is what you did with choice. And nature tends to correct itself, and we are children of the stars, with all that the good, the bad, and the weird that entails. And this is what happened. You have two eclipse children running for the presidency of the United States. That is the modern day Black Sun rituals manifester, MK Ultra, whatnot. Globally, okay, globally, you say, together with Israel, together with Vatican, together with the whole world. So that is the way I see things happening. I will even go as far as saying it would be very weird for me if they will off Trump and that would be successful before the Civil War. I'm not God. Yes, not in that sense. We're all divine, but not in that sense. But it's genuinely a fascinating elections for United States. Okay, two eclipse children, one by the merit of being born under eclipse, another by the merit of her ascendant conjuncting the eclipse nodes. And this is going to be in the shade of two eclipses, in the shade of four eclipses actually, still in the shade of four eclipses, but the recent would be the eclipse we have for this month and in October, and it's going to be fractions of seconds before Pluto goes into Aquarius for good, and that is usually another significant change. So who is going to bring United States into the Uranus-Pluto trine, that is kind of like the preparation for the Civil War. It's going to be very interesting. Will United States begin to split? I predict it will. And don't forget, we have Elon Musk in the background. Okay, he's just practicing to go to Mars, and he's practicing with the United States and China. So it's like, okay, and that is another thing that kind of happens in the not so background, is this. So, fascinating elections. Yes, astrologer is not always right. But still, I'm not too concerned for the well-being of Mr. Trump or Harris, at least until the elections themselves. And I do tend to believe that, albeit the waning of the secret societies, these two will serve us in the civil war, at least at the beginning of the civil war. So we'll see about that. And thank you for watching, and thank you for 406 subscribers for a shadow banned channel. This is not taken for granted.